I've spoken to numerous people all over the world, different countries, different cultures, and when I ask them about relationships, the answer remains the same. Relationships now in 2020 is different from how it used to be 10, 15, 20 years ago. Times have changed, a lot of things have changed. So today I'm going to be telling you the 5 most important skills that you need to have in order to ensure that your relationships are long lasting, that they don't just become beautiful at the start and then end as something regrettable. So please stay tuned for the 5 important relationship skills that you should have in 2020. Hi guys, welcome to your mistake on things. Like I said in the intro, I'm going to be telling you the 5 most important skills that are necessary for relationships in this day and age. So the first most important thing, I'm sure you've heard this thousands of times, numerous times, the most important skill for a relationship today is the communication skill. Now, I'm sure it sounds cliche to you. What is this communication skill I'm always hearing about? But I'm going to tell you, that's why I'm here. Communication skills. Don't think it's just about talking alone. No, communication is both listening and speaking. When you understand that communication is both ways, then you'll be able to handle your relationships better. In this day and age, we have so many things distracting us, so many distractions. Like I just said, you have the internet, you have your work, you have your pets. Everything distracts you from focusing on anything these days. So it takes an extra effort to be able to focus on the things that are important. So when you understand this, you would also understand that listening is very important in a relationship. If I have a partner who I trust with everything I have, I would always want him or her to listen to me. Do you get what I mean? Like, not just hearing what I'm saying, but listening to what I'm saying in order for you to understand rather than to respond. Now, why am I saying this? Because most people have arguments, and at the end of the day, it is just because of the lack of communication that the argument could not be resolved. Just because one person was not actually getting what the other person was trying to put across. That was why the relationship ended. But if you take your time to actually listen to what this person is saying, what are the person's fears, what are the person's challenges and issues, you'll be able to actually say, okay, maybe I understand what you're saying. How can we come to a compromise? How can we solve this problem? So communication is not just about talking and talking and talking. Yes, I will get to that, the other side of communication, but you need to understand that listening first is very important for a relationship to stand. Now, on the other hand, about speaking, being able to effectively communicate what is in your mind is a very important skill for a relationship. You may be feeling a kind of way, you may be feeling a certain way, but if you cannot tell your partner how exactly you are feeling, I'm sorry, even though we wish it, but they cannot read minds. You need to be able to say, babe, this is why I'm angry, this is why I'm mad, this is what you did, I didn't like it, this is why I did not like it, and I would like us to change this aspect of our relationship. Then the person understands you. If the person is putting in the tool of listening, then they understand you, they understand what you're trying to put across to them. So I've said 2 things: communication skill, the most important relationship skill, and there are 2 parts of communication. There's listening, which is so important, and there's speaking. So when you're telling your partner what offends you or what makes you mad, you must be able to relay it clearly for them to understand. And as a partner, you need to be able to listen, to understand where the other person is coming from, to have empathy, to be able to sympathize with the person's situation and come to a compromise. The second and most important relationship skill in this day and age is patience. Patience. Most of us in our generation, we lack patience. We jump into conclusions in a second. Like, you hear something, oh, my babe did this, blah 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 blah, into conclusion, bam. You don't wait, you don't sit down and say, okay fine, you know what, let me think about this. Maybe it is not how I think it is. Maybe I'm reading this thing wrong. Let me ask him or her what actually happened. No, you jump into conclusions. You don't want to hear any explanations. You just bail. Guys, we need to be patient. We need to just take 2 seconds to chill and listen. To chill and go back to the first skill, which is communicating. You need to take some time to have patience in order to communicate. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you today? So patience is very important, right? In this day and age where there are so many things that, like I said, taking our time, distracting us, if you're not patient to be able to listen to your partner, then you would always jump into conclusions, and sometimes those conclusions might be wrong, and then you would hate yourself. So just take a chill pill and listen before you jump into conclusions. Number 3 most important relationship skill for 2020, my brothers and sisters, is being able to endure long distance. Now most of you be like, oh, I don't like long distance relationships, this is not what I'm in for, blah blah blah. But let me tell you something. In 2020, globalization is at its all-time high. International relations, cross-border relationships, cultural integration, people working remotely, people working abroad, people who leave their homes and go to other countries to explore their cultures and everything. So if you keep telling yourself that I need to be in a relationship with somebody who is just 2 blocks away from my house, good for you, but you might miss out on something very special and beautiful if you keep doing that. So what I'm trying to tell you today is be prepared. Like, every relationship now is a spectrum. You might be completely long distance. Oh, I live in this country, my partner lives in another country. Or it could just be your partner traveling for a week or 2. But the point is, there must be some element of long distance in your relationship. So if you cannot handle that, I'm sorry, in 2020 you will not be able to handle a relationship. Everybody is going from one country to another trying to figure out their lives. You cannot hold a person down. So you need to understand that, okay, if I have communication skills, if I have the patience, then I will be able to endure the long distance too when time comes, if the time comes. I'm not wishing that you should have a long distance relationship. Trust me, it is stressful to be in a long distance relationship. But if you have this relationship skills that I'm telling you about, I promise you, you will be able to endure, persevere until you guys are back together. And trust me, that moment when you guys meet again after a very long time apart is the sweetest thing ever that you can ever imagine. So just communicate. Over the phone is even worse. I told you about communication skills. Imagine a long distance relationship where you have to say everything over the phone or text, and everything can be misread, misunderstood, misconstrued. Trust me, if you build these skills, if you build your listening skills, if you keep asking questions rather than jumping into conclusions, if you don't understand something, ask for clarification, seek understanding, and when you're completely sure that this is what this person is saying, then you can react, then you can respond, then you can answer. So the 4th important skill is very important: forgiveness. You need to be able to forgive. Most people think that, oh, there are some other relationship skills, oh, blah blah blah, but if you cannot forgive your partner, leave. So I call it the forgive or leave spectrum. My viewers, understand me. If your partner hurts you in any way, right, I know it hurts, I know it's painful, but if you cannot find it in your heart to forgive that person, there's no reason you should be in that relationship anymore. You're just going to be toxic, you're going to be hateful, antagonistic. You're just going to be the worst version of yourself. Forgiveness holds you back, it hampers you, suppresses you. You become something that you cannot recognize. So you need to understand that if you cannot forgive, leave. Okay, end it, because you're only putting the other person into a lot of stress. People make mistakes. And you need to understand that. When you understand that, then you find out, okay, what was the motive for this person hurting me in the first place? Was it something that the person did because they deliberately wanted to hurt my feelings, or was it just a mistake that they didn't know it was going to hurt my feelings, or they were just careless? Think about things like that. If you find out that it's a fundamental issue, this person deliberately wanted to make me cry, then why are you there in the first place? Get out immediately, out. So, but if you find out that it was a mistake, it wasn't something that the person wanted to do deliberately, forgive. It lifts a lot of weight. And not just forgiving and then tomorrow you keep bringing up, referencing that particular issue. Oh, that's how that day you did this. Oh, that's how that time you did this. That is not forgiveness. Forgiveness means forgiving and letting go. Forgiveness means I am not ever going to speak about this again. Forgiveness means complete surrendering of the issue. Okay, so forgive, and if you can't, let the person go. Save the person some stress. Save yourself some stress. And the last and final thing, and it's definitely not the least, is selflessness. I know you've heard this 1,000 times. I know most of the things I'm saying sounds like, oh, I've heard this before, but listen to me. When I mean selflessness, I don't just mean the banal way of looking at things. I'm talking about being able to sacrifice and compromise. When you go into a relationship, it is not just about you anymore. Every decision you make, every step you take is now about two people. Okay? When you understand that, and when you appreciate that you are a whole human being and the other person is a whole human being on their own, then how on earth do you want to suppress that person to 0 and you remain in 100%? It doesn't work that way. Okay, two human beings come together, they have to put down their pride, they have to suppress their dignity and say, you know what, I want to make this work, so definitely I would drop that thing that is hindering us, that stumbling block that is stopping us from being together. I'm going to put it aside and I'm going to choose you. I'm going to choose you because I love you. That is selflessness. It's not just about giving your life for somebody. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay? I don't want to say it's easy to give your life for somebody or put yourself in danger for somebody else, but trust me, being able to let go of all those principles, all those hard, oh, I'm this person, how can one guy just come from nowhere and take this from me? It is even more difficult. It is even more difficult to let go of those things. So if you can be selfless enough to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice these things. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying sacrifice who you are for a relationship. No. I'm saying sacrifice those things that you know are stopping you from moving forward. And those things are not as important as you hold them to be. Okay, I can give you numerous examples, but I don't want to take too much of your time. But the point is, compromise. Two people willing to work together and say, you know what, okay, I'm going to drop my smoking habit and you drop your drinking habit. That is a compromise. Two of you are coming together and say, okay, this is what would work for the both of us. Not because of what any other person says in society, not because of what your parents said or your friends. It's about the two of you. Remember that. So guys, just a quick recap. 5 most important relationship skills you should have in 2020. Number 1, communication skills, which involves listening and speaking. Number 2 is patience. Stop jumping into conclusions, guys. Stop it. Number 3 is being able to endure long distance. In this day and age, it might be inevitable that you might be apart from your partner for either a short or a long period of time. Whatever the case may be, it is important that you be able to persevere during that period. Number 4 is forgiveness. Forgive. If somebody hurts your feelings, forgive. Even it's not just even in romantic relationships, even in friendships, forgive. But if you cannot forgive, right, which I pray you can, but if you can't, leave, let go, end it, because you're just going to hurt the other person further. You're going to hurt yourself even the most. And number 5, and the final relationship skill you have in 2020, right, is selflessness. Okay, be selfless, be ready to cut down those egos, be vulnerable. Okay, it's not going to hurt you. It sounds contradictory. Being vulnerable seems like, oh, if I'm vulnerable, this person has a chance to hurt me. Yes, I get that. But if you're not vulnerable, then how do you give yourself? How are you going to be yourself in a relationship? It's going to be fake, it's going to be cosmetic. Okay, be vulnerable. Yes, if the person hurts you, takes advantage of your vulnerability, then that person is a trashy human being. But you on your own, you would enjoy a relationship more when you're vulnerable, when you're open, when you're ready to give everything that you are. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and let me know your thoughts, your take on things in the comment section. Okay, and please, if you're a new person, subscribe. Okay, I promise to give you good content, educative, entertaining, and please subscribe. Okay, share to your family, your friends. They might learn something or not, but at least it's entertaining, right? So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Okay, I'll see you next week. Bye.